Bismillah.
The need for creed.
The story of Jesus, the son of Mary, or Eesa ibn Maryam, peace be upon him. In 1947, a Bedouin found old Essene scrolls in caves near the Dead Sea, which he almost burned for fire. But why are these disciples of John the Baptist unknown in the Bible, and who was their awaited Messiah? Long ago in Nazareth lived a pious rabbi called Imran, who grew old without a son or heir. Coming from Aaron's priestly line, his offerings were belittled, so he called on Allah in prayer. Imran's old wife Hannah also longed for offspring after she saw baby chicks being fed in a nest. She vowed that if she bore a child, she would let it serve in Jerusalem's holy temple as a guest. Allah answered their prayers, but sadly, Chief Imran died before his daughter Maryam was born. As Hannah had promised, after weaning Maryam, she left her at the temple when the day dawned. It was unknown for a girl to serve the temple, but Maryam was a perfect girl full of grace. They cast a pen lottery, and Zachariah won it to raise her as a guardian in her father's place. Prophet Zachariah was married to Maryam's aunt Elizabeth, or Ashia, and taught her for a pious reason. Being a carpenter, he built her a hidden prayer room where Allah nourished her with fruits out of season. Even though he was nearly 80, Zachariah prayed for an heir, until an angelic vision left him stunned. Angel Gabriel, or Jibrail, appeared and told him that his barren wife Ashia would give birth to his son. He was told his son would be a prophet called John or Yahya, meaning one quickened to life. As a sign, he would lose voice for 3 days and communicate by signals when pregnancy blessed his wife. Maryam was now in puberty and constantly worshipped Allah after her work was done. But one day she was frightened by Angel Jibrail, who came to announce news of her son. Seeking refuge in Allah from the stranger, she was given strength by Allah to stay calm. She queried the miracle pregnancy, but accepted Allah's word and would come to no harm. Worriedly, she went to visit her aunt Ashia, whose baby bowed towards Maryam's womb. Being his cousin, Yahya would herald Eesa as Israel's chosen Messiah and make room. Yahya was born with great jubilation and grew up in the desert, simple and altruistic. Believers with him awaited Eesa and were known as the Essene or Isai in the Qumran district. On the outskirts of Bethlehem, Maryam sat against a withered tree with labor-pain sobs. All alone, she gave birth to Eesa, a child untouched by Satan, but dreaded facing the mobs. Allah eased Maryam's worries by causing a freshwater spring to flow and ripe dates to fall. Astonishingly, her baby spoke to her, telling her to fast in silence and not to speak to anyone at all. When the townfolk saw her, they cried, "O sister of Aaron, how could you do such a sin?" But Maryam silently pointed to her baby, and he defended her as a truly astounding thing. Baby Eesa said he was Allah's worshipper slave, a prophet sent with a book, all blessed. He would pray, give charity, and be kind to his pious mother, so to follow him was best. An angry mob accosted Zachariah at the temple and accused him of siring Eesa and being unclean. They martyred him by sawing him in a tree by the altar, but Yahya was safe with the Essene. Maryam had to escape to Egypt and fled with guardians from the family of Zachariah. Eesa would grow up there in safety, up until travel back to Palestine became freer. Eesa grew up as a shepherd in the Arabian wilderness, a pure and wise youth. Allah gave him the Injil, a holy book to call the children of Israel to truth. When 12-year-old Eesa returned, he explained the Torah insightfully, and the rabbis initially took him for a sage. But they cast him out, accusing him of being Maryam's illegitimate son, and he moved to Galilee until he came of age. At 30, Eesa performed miracles by Allah's permission. Like loaves and fish to thousands he fed. He cured the blind, lepers, and the possessed, and gave life to clay birds and raised the dead. Eesa angered the zealots, Pharisees and Sadducees by exposing them all as fake and greedy. He told them to worship Allah properly, not to pervert God's laws, and to feed the needy. For feeding the poor and curing the sick on the Sabbath, Eesa was accused of breaking Mosaic law. The rabbis said he used magic, and for power plotted to kill him, making the Romans angry with uproar. Prophet Yahya was beheaded for speaking the truth in front of the incestuous Herod Antipas. Yahya's disciples, or Hawariyun, would now serve a new teacher of righteousness, and aided Esa's task. The helpers asked for a miracle, and a ma'idah table descended with food from the sky. They ate from it, but Allah said an unheard-of punishment would befall those who would deny. Eesa taught his disciples the Injil in Aramaic, and they witnessed real miracles and not illusions. But when he revealed his ascension and a prophet to come after him, Judas became disillusioned. The priests denied Eesa as a fake Messiah and vied for his blood, but couldn't identify him from the poor. So for 30 pieces of silver, Judas Iscariot said he'd betray him and switch sides to aid the zealot war. Eesa was made aware of their plot by Allah and prayed to him to remove this calamity. Allah comforted Eesa and told him of his plan, that a disciple would take on his identity. At the Last Supper, Eesa asked his disciples to volunteer to be crucified with Esa's transformed face. For the honor of joining Eesa in heaven, the youngest one willingly agreed to take Esa's place. Judas brought the Romans to the Garden of Gethsemane, where Eesa used to pray. Eesa hugged his tearful mother and left her in the care of Isai helpers that day. With lanterns they searched for Eesa, but the substitute stepped out and said, "I am he." Esa's body was put in a sleep-like stasis, and 2 angels lifted him to the second heaven stealthily. They took away the silent substitute disciple and humiliated him in trial after trial. He remained extremely patient. Even Pilate washed his hands of him, feeling riled. The remaining disciples did their best to spread the Injil, but their end came soon. As for Judas, he committed suicide by hanging and was found with his guts all spume. The authorities passed the death sentence to quell rebellion, and the rabbis appeased. They put a crown of thorns on the substitute's head and lashed him to his knees. Nailed to a cross, the dignified substitute breathed his last, and even Maryam cried. The chiefs boasted that they had crucified Eesa, but instead the brave lookalike died. The Isai were hunted down mercilessly, and the true message of Eesa was suppressed. Nestorians and Jacobites pushed a warped Pauline creed until the Quran gave redress. It angers Allah that people call Eesa the Son of God, or worship him in a trinity. Eesa and Maryam were human. Allah raised Eesa up, and he will return aged 33. In the not-too-distant future, Eesa will return with 2 angels in Damascus with might to destroy evil Dajjal, the Antichrist, who will dissolve by Lord's gate without a fight. Eesa will beseech Allah to rid the world of the hordes of Gog and Magog's rot. He will also tell those with him of their ranks in paradise, right there on the spot. The whole world will accept Eesa as a Messiah and just leader, and do exactly as he says. Life will be blessed under him, and livestock yields and fruits will be huge in those days. He will destroy all pigs and crosses, removing the polytheism or shirk that they carried. He will rule for 40 years with the Quran, perform pilgrimage to Mecca, and get married. Fascinatingly, Christians have paid for Umayyad Mosque's white minaret where Eesa will descend. And he'll be buried next to Prophet Muhammad's grave, peace be upon him, in Medina when he dies and meets his end.